Hello children, once again I am here in this video and we will see the another part of the chapter. In the previous video we have discussed that what is economy and what are the different sectors of Indian economy. So in this chapter we will try to understand what are the role of all these three different sectors of Indian economy. And just knowing that, we will try to understand that how a GDP is one of the important factor to calculate the economy of any country. And to know that, first we need to have a comparative study among all the three sectors of Indian economy. That is called what? The primary, secondary and the tertiary. So as I told you, to calculate the economy or to know the economic status of any country, the most important aspect is what? That is GDP. Now what is GDP? GDP means gross domestic product. What is it? Gross domestic product. So if GDP is one of the important criteria to calculate the economy of any nations, then how it is to be calculated? Let us try to understand that first. So it is said that to calculate the GDP or to know the GDP of any nation, the most important is what? Is to know the value of the final goods and services produced in each sector. Now when we talk about the each sector, it means what? It means the goods and services that produce in primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector during a particular year, means each year, okay, and that provides what? The total production of the year, right? Now when we do sum total of production in all the three sectors, that gives what? GDP. So in this way the GDP is calculated. GDP is what? GDP is the sum total production in all the three sectors, okay, that calculated, and that gives what? The gross domestic product. But when we talk about the final goods and services, what does it means? Now let us see. To manufacture any goods and services, so many intermediate goods are taken. So in that way, if you started to look at all the different aspects of these intermediate goods, they are used to make or manufacture any goods or to render any kind of services, then it's very difficult. So that's why, to make it easy to calculate the GDP in a very easier form, what it does, it just calculate the final goods and services, and it's ignore the intermediate goods. Now what are these intermediate goods? Intermediate goods are those which are used to manufacture some goods. What is it? Let us try to understand this with one example. Let us take one producer, right? We will understand in this way. Producer. This is just an example. Who produce what? Wheat, correct? What do you produce? Wheat. Now this producer who produced the wheat, it sells the wheat to the industries or any persons with rupees 8 per kg, with the price of rupees 8 per kg. Now this industries, what it does, this industries, it converts that wheat into a flour, correct? Flour, and it sells that good to the manufacturer and in rupees 10 per kg, correct? Now this manufacturer, what he does or what it does, using that wheat flour, okay, using that flour, it manufactures a biscuits, correct? Biscuits, and that biscuits, each packets of biscuit the manufacturer sell in rupees 15, means per packet. Now see, this manufacturer may use various other goods while he is manufacturing the biscuits. Like he may use sugar, okay, he may use oil or other things, whatever needed. And it may include the charges like transportation, no? So all these things which is used by the manufacturer to manufacture the biscuit, no? So these goods are called as what? Intermediate goods. Now, what is the finished product of the wheat here? The finished product of the wheat here is biscuits, right? What is the finished product? That is the biscuits. Now here, instead of calculating the price of wheat, the price of sugar, the price of oil, what we calculate? We only calculate the price of biscuit, which is the final product of wheat. And this final product includes all the intermediate goods price as well. That's why to make the calculation easy in GDP or in economic system, the final goods and services, its value is calculated. So sum total of such calculation which is calculated in all these three different sectors, okay, that is in primary. For that particular year, this is what the value that is calculated or earned in this particular sector. In the same way, when it is calculated in the secondary sector, in the same way when it is calculated in the tertiary sector, and all these varied calculations coming from all the different sectors, when clubbed together and total, that is called what? GDP. And this is one of the very important criteria to calculate the economy of any country. So this is how any kind of confusions which arise in the calculation of GDP is solved through what? Taking the value of final goods and services. Correct? So whether country, any country, what amount of income it has from the primary sector, it has from the secondary sector, and it has from the tertiary sector, that is calculated, and when it is done, the totaling is done together, that is constituted as GDP. And based on this GDP, the nation's economy is calculated. This is all we have understand about the GDP and how GDP is one of the very important factor or assets to calculate the economy of any nations. Now let us try to understand the historical changes in these sectors. Now when we talk about the in these sectors, means that is the primary, secondary and the tertiary sectors. So if you see and compare all these three different sectors of economy, with the change of the time, they too get changed. So many advancement has been taken place there. How it is? Let us see. Let us take our country's example. As we know that India is an agriculture's land. The reason for calling India as an agriculture's land is what? More than 63% of its population today also they are earning through the agriculture's activity. So this is the reason why it is agriculture is counted as one of the primary activity of our country. But in which way we do agriculture or we perform agriculture's activity, do they are same compared to the 40 or 50 years back? Then you will come to know that no, these are not. See, the demands of goods has increases with the increase of population. As a result, what happened now, the primary sectors where basically the agriculture's activities are taking place, they are in pace of producing more and more goods so that the demand which lies in the market can be fulfilled. As a result, to meet this rising demands of the people, what happened? The agriculture's activity, which are classed in the primary activity, they started to modernize themselves. Today, what kind of agriculture we do is called as what? Modern method of farming or agriculture. Now, in this modern method of farming or agriculture, so advanced tools and the machines are used. Correct. As a result, what happened? The production is growing higher and higher, and that is need of the hour. That is a compulsion. We have left with no other option. So when the advancement has taken place in the agriculture's activity, it also compelled or supported simultaneously in the other two sectors as well to get advancement or to increase their productions. Let us take. Today we are doing agriculture in the modern method or adopting the modern method. So various tools and gadgets are used, various fertilizers are used, and these are manufactured where? These are manufactured in the industries and factories. And these industries and factories, they are what? They comes in the secondary sectors. So when there is a demand of advancement in one sector of economy, it directly affects the other sector of economy to also get enlarged. So that is what we have seen. So with the change of the time, so many things were changed in all the different sectors of this economy. Why? Now see how the demand of machines and tools causes for the expansion of not only the primary sector but as well as the secondary sector. And if you see in the same way, now goods are produced in the large quantity with the help of these advanced gadgets and tools which are produced by the secondary sector. Now to make these produced goods available in the market, there is a need of what? Connectivity. And that connectivity is supported by what? That was supported by the tertiary sector. So in that way, when some source of advancement or improvement we can see in one particular sector, it's directly supporting other sectors of economy also to get expand. So let us see, as the primary, secondary and the tertiary sector, these all are important. These all are important, but keeping the Indian economy in the mind, we will try to understand the rising importance of the tertiary sector in production. What is the importance of tertiary sectors in Indian economy and why it is important? It is said that to become a developed nation, there are so many other aspects as well, but the most important aspect is what? The most important aspect is it should able to create the opportunity of job or employment. Why? Because how the development is calculated when people have a very good earning. Income is one of the important criteria as we have discussed in the previous chapter. So if it is so, in that sense, isn't it very essential to expand the tertiary sector? Because in manufacturing sector, up to one extent we can engage the people. In the primary sectors as well. What is the reason? Because land is a fixed capital, we know, and it cannot be expanded. And in the same plot of land, a limited number of people can be engaged. But tertiary sector is that if we enlarge it, if we expand it, then ultimately it will create an opportunity of job. Not only that, the advancement in the tertiary sectors also help to boost the primary and the secondary sectors. Let us see what is the rising importance or why it is very important to gear up or boost up or strengthen the tertiary sector. First said that the basic service and the government responsibilities. See, today, apart from the income, we have lots of our needs, like we need our healthcare facilities, we need our educational institutions, we need various training programs. So all these are what? All these are those assets apart from the earning which make our life prosperous, fruitful. No, and we started to demand all this, correct? And now these are called as what? The basic services. And what are these basic services? As I just told you, the health facilities, the educational institutions, the training institutions, and various others. No, we need a good transportation, we need a good communication system, right? So when people started to demand this to prosper their way of life or living, then ultimately the government's it's a government responsibility to give these basic services to the people, because they are the elected body of the people, they are the people's representatives, as we discussed in the political science. Now to provide them these facilities, do you think without expanding the tertiary sector it is possible? It is not possible. So this is one of the most important point why we need to expand the tertiary sector and what is their importance. Okay, let us take the another sector. See, as I told, the advancement in the primary sectors also lead to the advancement in secondary sectors and tertiary sectors, right? Now the tertiary sectors play very important role to connect the primary and the secondary sectors. If primary sectors is very stronger and it gives a very good production, and secondary sector is playing all its role to convert those goods into a finished product or final product with its effort, then do you think without tertiary sector that would be done easily? Of course not. So living in the different part of the country, you can think in this way also, various kinds of goods and services we are enjoying or we are availing, but these goods and services are basically not produced or manufactured in our area. So how it has happened, how this reached to us? It is because of the tertiary sector. So this is another growing importance of the tertiary sectors, because it's connect the primary and the secondary sectors. Another is the income of the people, okay, race, which demand the other services as well, correct? So income of an individual use rise, which demand other services as well. So these all other services you can keep in any way, like today this internet facilities, today this classroom recording is being done by this mobile and all. So these are also demanded. Why? Now as there is a saying, no, the people has a dimensional goals, no, and to achieve these goals what they have set, they need various services, right? And this tertiary sector is playing important role to make these other services available to the people, right? Another, the demand of information communication technology. Today, see, this is a very pathetic situations we are going through. Pathetic in the sense, if we are not careful. Now in such conditions also, taking little effort, though it is not sufficient, I cannot say this is sufficient, but at least something is going on. Think of if we could not have made advancement in the information and communication technology, what amount of informations are we gathering, keeping ourselves in the isolation that could have been happened? Of course not. So in this way, tertiary sectors fulfill all these basic services. It's connect the primary and the secondary sectors. It's fulfill the various other services of the people which are essential for their survival or progress or make their life prosperous. And because of these tertiary sectors only, there is a advancement in the information and the communication technology. So this is how making the people life prosperous. And apart from that, apart from all this, the most important aspect and the rising demands of the tertiary sector is, what do you know? It's not only rendered our these services, but it also gives us an opportunity of service. It's also help to solve out the problem of unemployment. It helps to raise the income of a nation. Today you see large number of people from, they are not only engaged in the primary sector, they are not only engaged in the secondary sector. The tertiary sector, which has come with a lots of service area or service field, no, large number of people they are engaged in that. Think about those people who don't have land to do agriculture. Think about those people who don't have who don't get any job in any manufacturing companies or industries, how they are managing their livelihood today. If you go through so many area, you can come to know that there are small repairing shops are there. Some are just making such video and uploading in YouTube, and some are running their own business. Some become entrepreneur, some become inspirational speakers, no. So in that way, not only fulfilling the needs of these different aspects, but tertiary sector also create a huge opportunity of employment to those who are not. So tertiary sector in this way create a huge opportunity of job apart from the primary and the secondary sector. So this is what we try to understand, or I try to explain you in this video. So let us summarize the chapter how we have started. So first we started with the what is economy. We have discussed, or I have tried to make you understand what is economy. And after that we discuss the sectorial classification of Indian economy, where we discuss about the primary, secondary and the tertiary sector, the private and the public sector, and the organized and the unorganized sector. After that we try to compare the calculation, how the different sectoral calculation is being done, and what is GDP. No, why GDP is taken as one of the important criteria to calculate the economy of any country. I just try to make you understand. And after that we have discussed about the historical changes in the different sectors, how the different sectors, they are primary, secondary and the tertiary sectors, what kind of changes are taking place in these different sectors. We try to understand that. And next we try to understand the rising importance of the tertiary sectors. So in this video, this many things we have discussed, and I hope that after listening these videos, and when you go through your text, it will surely help you to understand the chapter and the title, which is called as what the sector of Indian economy. I wish you all good luck, and keep on learning. Stay safe. Thank you very much.